Imagine you are royalty and your whole life has been built around one job. Keep the kingdom alive. You are never alone. From the moment you wake up, there are others around you. They're feeding you, cleaning you, moving you when you can't move yourself. And you have never once had to take care of yourself because someone has always been there to do it for you. And in return, you hold everything together. The whole kingdom runs on you. When you're strong, they're strong. And as long as you can do what they need, everyone has a reason to keep going. You are the center. You are the thing that makes it all work. And for a long time, that's exactly how it goes. You're needed. You're protected. You matter more than anyone else. But then something starts to change slowly. So slowly that you can't even point to when it started. You can't quite do what you used to. It's not sudden, it's just a little less. And the strange part is you start to feel it before you really understand it. The others, they still come, they still feed you, they still clean you, but something is different now. The way that they're moving around you is changed. They're watching, they're measuring, and you don't know why, but here's what you can't see. Somewhere else in the kingdom, they have already started raising the one who is going to take your place. They're not doing it to be cruel. They're not angry at you. It's just necessary. And when the new one is ready, they don't throw you out, not right away. For a while, the two of you just carry on side by side. You're still doing your part. But the attention in the room, it has already started to move past you to someone newer. And then one day, with no big moment, nothing you can point to, you're just not the center anymore. You're not the thing that keeps it all alive. What happens next is not loud, it's not cruel, it's almost efficient. It's just the end of your role. And here's the truth. You were never the queen of a kingdom. You were a bee in a hive. And this is how honeybee colonies replace their queen. Hello, my powerful people. This is the Info Power Podcast, and I'm your host, Jasmine Conway. So if that beginning made you a little uncomfortable, good, right? It's supposed to, because told from the inside, it sounds like some tragedy. The one who gave everything was just pushed aside the second she couldn't keep up. And that's how it feels if you put yourself in her place. But if you take a step back and look at the whole hive, you see something completely different. That replacement is not the system being cruel. It is the system staying alive. A hive that holds on to a queen who is fading, that refuses to let her go because she's the center, because she's always been the center, that hive will not survive. It will not make it. The whole thing will just come apart. So the colony lets her go, not because something went wrong, but because that's how it's built. And that's what this whole episode is about. Some things have to be released. Not because you did anything wrong, not because anyone wronged you, but because if you hold on, if you try to keep all of it forever, the result is not safety. The result is collapse. And here's the part that I really want you to hear. That is not a flaw in the design. It is the design. And look, I'm not teaching you this from some safe distance. I have lived it. There are things that I have built my entire identity around protecting that I had to release. And I'm going to tell you about two of them today because they were some of the hardest and best things that I have ever done. So this is not a nature documentary, okay? But there are some things that I have learned about the beehive that help me live my own life. So that's where we're going today. And before we go any further, I want to talk to someone specific. So maybe this is you. Maybe you are holding on to a role, the one where you're the strong one, the one who holds it all together, the one that everyone needs. And you are so tired, but you don't even know who you'd be if you set some of those things down. Or maybe it's a version of your life that you swore you'd have by now and it didn't come out the way that you pictured. And you keep holding on to that picture and looking at your real life next to it. Or maybe it's just something, a habit, a relationship, a way of being that had its place once, that was so good once. And there's some part of you that knows that it does not belong where you're headed. And if that is you, stay with me today, because today's episode is for you. So here's where we're going. There are 3 things that happen inside of a real beehive. First is how the colony replaces its own queen, the one who is at the center of everything. Then it's the strange thing that a healthy hive does when it's at the absolute top of its game and when it splits itself clean in 2. And last is what a colony lets go of when the cold weather starts to roll in, because these 3 moments are where a hive survives by releasing something that it could have held on to. And there are some things in our own lives that we can learn about that. So let's start with the queen. So we think of the queen as the most important bee in the hive. And in a way, she is. The whole colony is structured around her. It's organized around her. She holds it together. When she's healthy and strong, the hive is thriving. And I mean, picture her actual life for a second. She gets fed by hand. She gets groomed head to toe. When she doesn't feel like walking somewhere, somebody moves her. She never once has to find her own food or clean up after herself. Like, she's living the dream. But here is what most people don't realize. The queen doesn't get to stay just because she's the queen. The day that she starts to fade, when she can't do what the colony needs from her, the hive, it doesn't sit around hoping that she's going to change, that it's going to get better. It moves. And in the background, the workers start raising up a new one. And eventually the old queen is gone. Now, think about how harsh that sounds for a second. This is the most protected, the most pampered, the most central member of the whole colony. And the colony will still let her go. Why? Because they have to. A hive that keeps a fading queen at the center, it does not get to keep humming along at 90%. It unravels. The colony gets weaker and weaker, and then it dies. And so the bees, they have to do the hard thing. They release the one thing that everything was built around, because the alternative is losing everything. And this is where I want to be very clear, because this is the whole heart of it. The bees are not doing this out of anger. There's not a betrayal. There's no villain. Holding on would probably feel like the loyal thing to do. It would probably feel kind, but holding on would also kill them all. That's the thing that we get wrong about letting go, right? We treat it like it is the loss, like it's the sad part. But for the hive, refusing to let go is the loss. Refusing to let go is the thing that ends them. So here's the line that I want you to take out of this whole episode, because everything else comes back to it. You have to let go of the part or lose the whole. The bees, they figured that out millions of years ago, and most of us are still standing here arguing with it. Picture this. It's a perfect afternoon in late spring. There are flowers for miles. There's food pouring in. There's a hive that is packed with more healthy bees than it's ever had in its whole life. This is the best season that they've ever had, and everything they work for, they finally have it. And then all of a sudden you look up and you see thousands of bees leaving the hive. If you didn't know any better, you would think that something terrible was happening to them inside the hive. But it's the opposite. It's actually the healthiest thing that they will ever do. It's called swarming. So here's what's happening. The old queen gathers up about half of the colony and they leave. They leave behind everything that they built, all of it, to go start completely over from scratch. And the other half, they stay behind with a brand new queen. And from the outside, that looks insane, right? Why would this thriving colony at the height of its success give away half of everything it has? And it's because that's the only way to grow. A single hive can only get so big. And once it's full, it's full. And all that success, all those extra bees, all that energy, it has nowhere to go. And so the hive, it'll get crowded and hot and stressed. And a crowded and overheated hive gets sick and then it can die. So the colony does not hold on, it releases. And by releasing half of itself, it becomes two hives, two queens, two futures. But this goes against everything that we have been taught. We think that growth means adding more, 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 stack another thing on top. But the bees, they say no. They say no. For them, growth is release. You literally cannot make a new hive without giving up half of the old one. And I'll tell you exactly where this hit home for me. So for a long time, I was scared of being visible. And that fear was useful to me for a while. It protected me, it gave me privacy, it gave me the privilege of anonymity, and it gave me the security, the safety of knowing that I could never come across the wrong way to a whole lot of people at once because there weren't a whole lot of people watching me in the first place. So staying small and invisible in a way, it kept me safe. But at some point, the very thing that was protecting me turned into the thing that was holding me back because being visible is one of the only ways to create the kind of opportunities the path that I am on actually requires. And I had a choice. I could stay invisible and stay safe, or I could let that go and actually go after the thing that I feel like I'm here to do. And that's the swarm. That is exactly the swarm. I had to give up the safety of being unseen in order to grow into the future that I want for myself. And that safety wasn't free. It just felt free because I'd had it for so long that I forgot that I was paying a price for it. But it was costing me the future that I dreamt for myself. And so I let it go. And I'm telling you, pretty much everything that has opened up since has come from me releasing that. Okay. Third one. And first, you need to understand the drones. So, the drones are male bees and they don't gather food, they don't build anything, they don't even feed themselves half the time. The workers do it for them. And their one job is to mate. That's it. So, they're basically the guys who show up to the cookout and they eat all the food and they don't contribute at all. We all know a drone in our lives. And all summer, that's fine. The hive has plenty. It feeds them, takes care of them, no problem. But when fall comes, the cold is coming and the colony, they start doing some hard math. How much food do we have? How long is the winter? How much can we keep spending? And the drones, who had a place all summer long, they don't fit into the season that's coming. And so the colony, it stops feeding them. It stops pouring resources into what the next season cannot support. And look, I know how that sounds. I know how it sounds. But here's what it actually is. A hive that tries to keep everyone and everything alive through the winter, that won't let go of anything because it all mattered at once, that is a hive that runs out of food before the spring. And then it's not just some of them that don't make it. None of them will make it, and the whole hive is doomed. So the colony chooses. It makes some hard decisions. It keeps what the next season can support and lets the rest go. Because the winter does not ask what something meant to you. The winter only asks what you can keep alive until spring. And honestly, this is the one that gets me because this is exactly how life can be sometimes. It is standing right at the edge of a new season and being honest that you can't bring all of it with you. And some of what you have to leave behind is stuff that you actually love, stuff that was good, stuff that it had its place. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. And not like, what's wrong in my life that I need to cut out? It's a different question. It is, what is coming with me into this next season out of pure habit that if I took a second to think about, I already know that deep down it does not fit where I'm going. You know the one, and you've probably known it for a while. And okay, you might be thinking, cool, Jasmine. So I should just quit everything the second it gets hard. No, 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 no. That is the opposite of what I'm saying. And I just want to draw that line very clearly because this is not just a let it go, flat out terrible advice if you stop there kind of situation. So here's the thing that the bees do that we skip right over. They don't let go because they were running away. The colony is not ditching the queen the second that things get hard. It's raising a whole new queen first. It's getting the next thing ready, and then it lets the old one go. The swarm isn't flying off because the hive is falling apart. It leaves when the hive is strongest, when it's at the very top, when it has the most to lose. Because the bees only ever release something when there's a future on the other side of it. It's not an escape hatch. It's always as a step towards what's next. And that's the line, that is how you tell releasing apart from quitting. Quitting is walking away because something is hard, with nothing growing to take its place. And releasing is choosing to set something down because you can see that it is blocking what's trying to come next. And having the guts to do it even when you're not strong, even when it would be so much easier to just coast along, to just maintain the status quo. So no, this is not me giving you permission to blow your whole life up on a random Thursday because you're bored. Please don't do that, and please don't do it and say that I told you to do it. No. It is permission to be honest about the things that you are keeping out of fear, habit, guilt, or just because it's who you've always been. And that's a totally different thing. It's a big, big, big difference. And I want to end with the thing that took me a while to let go of, because it's one that I still feel sometimes. So in my 20s, I had this whole picture of how my life was going to look and how I was going to be. I imagined a pretty traditional path for myself. The white picket fence, a spouse, 2.5 kids, and a dog, the whole thing. And here's the funny part, right? I didn't even want a traditional life in my 20s, like at all. I wanted to travel the world, to explore, to try new things, to go on all kinds of adventures, to explore my creativity in new ways. Like, I valued my freedom and flexibility so much. The life that I pictured was never actually going to fit into the person that I was in my 20s, but I still grieved it. And if I'm being honest with you, I still do sometimes. There is this true loss in setting down and setting aside the version of the life that you thought that you would have. But here's what I know. If I had refused to let that picture go, if I had dragged it into every new season, holding it up next to my real life, I would find that my real life was lacking every single time, and my mental health would be in shambles. I would not like myself, and I would never have been able to be right here in the life that I'm actually living and so profoundly grateful for. And the moment that I finally let it go, like I let it go, that is the moment that I started to fall in love, not only with my life, but with the possibilities for what my life could look like in the most authentic way. And now I have this beautiful, unexpected life that I get to live. And that's the whole episode right there. The hive lets go of its queen so it doesn't unravel. It lets go of half of itself so that it can grow. It lets go of what the winter cannot support so that it survives. None of that is a mistake. None of that is the system breaking. It is the system working and doing exactly what keeps it alive. It is the design. And you powerful person, you are built the exact same way on purpose. The thing that you're holding on to so tightly right now, the role, the safety, the version of your life that you thought you'd have, holding on to it might not be as safe as you once thought it was. Holding on to it might actually be the catastrophe. And I think that's the thing that I most want you to walk away with about what it means to be in full power. Because being in full power was never about holding everything. It's not the woman standing there with her arms so full that she can't even move. No, real power, full power is being free enough and brave enough to set down what this next season cannot carry and to trust that something better is already growing in the space that you just opened up. The holding on is not the power. The letting go is the power. So I'll leave you with this line, and this is the one that the bees have known forever. Let go of the part or lose the whole. Let go of the part or lose the whole. Okay? Before you go, this week's power practice, I always love to leave you with one small thing to actually do, right? Not just think about, but do. So here it is. This week, I want you to name one thing that you're holding on to, just one, And then ask it 2 questions. Number 1, is this serving the season I am in right now or the season I'm already out of? And number 2, if I let this go, is there something better trying to grow in its place? That is it. You do not have to release anything yet. You don't have to make a big, enormous decision this week. You're just naming it and getting honest about which season it actually belongs to. Write it on a sticky note, drop it on your phone, say it out loud in the car, whatever works for you. Just get it up out of the fog in your head and into the light where you can actually look at it. And hey, if you want, tell me yours. You can DM me on social media. You can send me an email. All of my information is in the show notes, and I read everything you send me. And hearing from you genuinely helps me, and it just lights up my life, to be honest. So this week, just get a little bit braver about letting it go. Thank you for being here with me today. If this resonated with you, share it with another powerful person who needs to hear it. I'm Jasmine Conway. This is the Info Power Podcast. I'll talk to you next time.